When people talk about abandoned disaster zones, they often mention Chernobyl. But Chernobyl is not alone. Around the world, entire cities and regions were destroyed, not by war, but by human decisions once believed to be safe. These are 5 places humanity changed forever.
A tranquil morning in Fukushima, where cherry blossoms drift through quiet streets and life unfolds in peaceful rhythm. This was a land of serene landscapes and vibrant communities. A portrait of modern Japan living in harmony with its ancient traditions. But on March 11, 2011, the ground began to shake with unimaginable force. The most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Japan triggered a colossal tsunami. A wall of water that surged inland, erasing everything in its path with brutal, indiscriminate power. The waves overwhelmed the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, crippling its cooling systems. What followed was a terrifying sequence of hydrogen explosions and reactor meltdowns, releasing radioactive material into the air and sea in a catastrophic nuclear emergency. In the disaster's wake, an eerie silence fell over the region. Empty streets and abandoned homes within the exclusion zone stand as ghostly memorials. Today, a monumental, decades-long cleanup effort continues, a stark reminder of nature's fury and technology's fragility.
In the heart of the 1950s, a small town thrived, its streets alive with the hum of vintage cars and the echoes of daily life. Centralia, Pennsylvania, was a place built on industry and community. Deep beneath the surface, the coal mines pulsed with activity, the town's very lifeblood carved from the earth by hard-working hands. This was more than just an industry. It was the foundation upon which futures were built. Above ground, life was simple and sweet. Children's laughter filled the air as they played in the streets, and families gathered on front porches, sharing stories as the sun went down. It was a close-knit community, bound by shared dreams and a sense of belonging. The camera pans to a peaceful, sweeping view of the town, nestled in the rolling hills. Centralia, Pennsylvania, a town with a future, unaware of the fire that would change everything. But in May 1962, a seemingly routine landfill fire ignited a much deeper problem. The flames crept into an abandoned coal mine shaft beneath the town, setting an anthracite coal seam ablaze. This single spark would seal Centralia's fate forever. Soon, smoke and toxic gases began seeping through cracks in the earth, poisoning the air and making the ground unstable. Residents were forced to abandon their homes, leaving behind empty streets and decaying houses as eerie monuments to a lost community. Today, all that remains are remnants like the graffiti highway and the persistent wisps of smoke rising from the scarred land. Centralia serves as a haunting reminder of a fire that has been burning for over 60 years, a town swallowed by the earth it was built upon.
Before the world knew its name for tragedy, Sidoarjo was a vibrant region in East Java, Indonesia. Life here, surrounded by lush landscapes and thriving communities, was marked by a quiet peace. Thousands of families built their lives on this land, unaware of the immense pressure building deep beneath their feet. On May 29, 2006, that peace was irrevocably broken. Without warning, the earth split open, unleashing a geyser of scalding toxic mud. It was the birth of the Sidoarjo mudflow, a relentless eruption that would become one of the most destructive industrial disasters in history. What caused this cataclysm? The debate began almost immediately. Some pointed to a drilling operation by the company, the Pindo Brantas, that had gone wrong. Others cited an earthquake that had struck the region days earlier, potentially triggering the subterranean activity. However, a growing body of evidence and international scientific consensus pointed toward a catastrophic blowout at a nearby gas exploration well. The prevailing theory is that the failure to properly secure the drill casing led to the puncture of a high-pressure mud layer, unleashing its contents with unstoppable force. The aftermath was apocalyptic. The mudflow became an unstoppable river, consuming everything it touched. At its peak, it spewed over 180,000 cubic meters of mud per day, an amount sufficient to fill dozens of Olympic swimming pools. Entire villages were submerged, leaving only the tips of rooftops and minarets as ghostly markers of a buried world. Over 60,000 people were displaced, their homes and livelihoods gone forever in the deluge of gray sludge. Today, the eruption has slowed, but its legacy is permanent. A vast, barren wasteland has replaced the once fertile land, and the ground continues to sink under the weight of the solidified mud. The Sidoarjo disaster serves as a chilling, enduring reminder of environmental devastation and the profound human cost of a catastrophe that many believe could have been prevented.
In the quiet suburbs of Niagara Falls, a dream neighborhood was built, only to become a nightmare. This is the story of Love Canal, a name now synonymous with environmental catastrophe, and how its toxic legacy sparked a revolution. Video split-screen left side shows black and white photos of a suburban neighborhood in the 1970s. Children playing near a seemingly normal field. Right side shows a modern green park with a memorial plaque. What began as an idyllic community in the 1950s was built atop a buried secret. 21,000 tons of toxic industrial waste. For decades, a chemical company had used the abandoned canal as a dumping ground. When a school and homes were constructed over it, the poison began to seep into basements, yards, and the very air people breathed. Families started experiencing alarming rates of birth defects, miscarriages, and rare cancers. The American dream had turned into a toxic nightmare. Animated graphic shows a map of the United States. Pins start popping up all over the country, highlighting various locations. The number of pins rapidly increases. The crisis at Love Canal, brought to light by fearless resident activists like Lois Gibbs, captured national attention. The public outcry was so immense that it forced the government to act. In 1980, the United States Congress passed the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, better known as Superfund. This landmark legislation created a program to identify and clean up the nation's most hazardous waste sites. For the first time, polluters were held financially responsible for the messes they created, funding the long and arduous process of restoring contaminated land across the country. A montage showing modern-day community meetings, scientists in lab coats analyzing soil samples, and activists holding signs at a peaceful protest. The mood is collaborative and determined. The fight, however, didn't end with Superfund. The horror of Love Canal ignited a powerful new wave of grassroots environmentalism. It taught us that ordinary citizens could stand up to powerful corporations and demand change. Today, this spirit lives on. Community activists, armed with data and social media, work hand in hand with scientists and policymakers to hold polluters accountable and advocate for environmental justice, ensuring that no community has to suffer the same fate. A sweeping drone shot over a vast wind farm at sunset, with solar panels visible in the distance. From disaster, a new responsibility was born. From the contaminated soil of Love Canal rose a new consciousness. Its tragic story serves as a permanent reminder of the consequences of neglect and a powerful catalyst for the green policies that protect our health and planet today. The legacy isn't just one of contamination, it's one of resilience, activism, and an enduring commitment to a cleaner, safer future for all.
Once, the Aral Sea was the fourth largest lake in the world. A vast expanse of blue straddling the border of what is now Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. For centuries, it was a source of life and prosperity. Bustling fishing villages dotted its shores, and busy ports hummed with activity as fishermen cast their nets into its bountiful waters, hauling in catches that supported a thriving regional economy. It was an oasis, a vibrant heart in the arid landscape of Central Asia, teeming with life both in its depths and along its coast. The fate of this great sea began to change dramatically in the 1960s. The Soviet Union, in an ambitious and ultimately catastrophic plan, decided to transform the surrounding deserts into sprawling cotton and wheat fields. To do this, they initiated massive irrigation projects that diverted the two major rivers feeding the Aral Sea, the Amu Darya and the Sir Darya. Animated maps from the era show a colossal engineering effort, rerouting these vital water sources through a network of canals, starving the sea of its lifeblood. The consequences became devastatingly clear in the decades that followed. From the 1970s through the 1990s, the Aral Sea began to shrink at an alarming rate. Its shorelines receded by miles, leaving behind a barren wasteland. The most haunting images from this period are of entire fishing fleets, trawlers, and boats, left stranded in the middle of a newly formed desert, their rusted hulls becoming monuments to a dying sea. The water that remained grew increasingly saline, killing off the fish populations and destroying the local fishing industry. By the 2000s, the once mighty Aral Sea had been reduced to a fraction of its former self, split into several smaller, hypersaline lakes. The exposed seabed formed the Aralcombe Desert, a vast toxic salt flat contaminated with pesticides and other agricultural chemicals. Fierce winds whipped this dust into the air, creating toxic dust storms that plagued the region, causing severe respiratory illnesses and environmental damage hundreds of miles away. Yet, amid the devastation, a small glimmer of hope has emerged. In 2005, Kazakhstan completed the Kokoral Dam, a project designed to save the northern part of the sea. By separating the North Aral Sea and channeling the flow of the Syr Darya into it, the dam has led to a remarkable, albeit partial, revival. Water levels have risen, salinity has decreased, and fish have returned, bringing a cautious sense of optimism to the local communities. This effort shows that with concerted action, perhaps parts of this man-made disaster can be reversed, offering a lesson in both ecological folly and the potential for restoration.